screw it up.
You can do it, man.
We spent so much on this machine, this is all we can afford for this.
Oh, we're streaming. So, Paul, do you want to sit down or should we put Kate in the front row?
We're a bit unbalanced. Can we go Kate?
Sorry? Yes, can we have Kate in there because it's a sausage festival at the moment. Without some other.
Well,
That was lovely.
Farming.
No, it wasn't.
Wow. Look, have it. I'm trying to get out of this chair so many times.
Okay, we are going to be starting the family category, but I'm going to ask Assistant Panel Chair Louise to enter the judges whilst we're doing this, and I'm going to start the preamble guff. All right, so welcome. This is the 2018 AIPP SA, Northern Territory and Tasmanian Professional Photography Awards. We're going to be judging the family category, and it's proudly sponsored by Graphic Arts Supplies here in Rundle Street, Kent Town, a fabulous little business, well in the support of Epson, who are also our sponsors. So if you want an Epson here in South Australia, Graphic Arts Supplies are the people to speak to. This is a family category. It is intended for domestic photographers to enter images that reflect the real work you are selling or aiming to sell to your clients. Entries into this category must be commissioned by the family depicted in the entry. Members of the photographer's immediate family cannot be entered under any circumstances. Entry should be reflective of the type of photography a client would purchase. Entries can be multi-layered, allowing for the use of additional photographic elements. Diptychs, triptychs and series are also permitted, as to are head swaps. Entries should be judged on lighting, posing, composition and camera technique, as well as being rewarded for creativity and imagination. Emotional content can be equally as important as more traditional photographic benchmarks. Successful images may be excellent examples of traditional family portraiture or reflect the highest level of contemporary market expectations. Emotional impact and evidence of good communication between the photographer and the subjects may also be considered a key ingredient, because this category is designed to recognise the daily work of professional family portrait photographers. Our judges, in position 1, we have Simone Hankel. In position 2, we have Kate Ellis. Position 3, David Hattie. Position 4, Dean Mansbridge. And position 5, George Fragopoulos. And we're probably going to be doing some swapsies around here because it's a small category and we have judges everywhere that are entering. So be prepared for the swaps. So can we please have our first print? We need to swap next though. Next. Oh no, we got. No, it's all right. We can use this gentleman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is not sweet. So this is sweet. This is YouTube, saying YouTube's working. This print scores a 79. Can I please ask Kate Ellis to make a comment?
This is a lovely little print to start our category. Really beautifully in the professional standard. I think that's the cutest little doggy. Just maybe a bit distracting with the patterns between dog and dress, but yeah, I think that's a really beautiful picture.
Thank you, Kate. 79 is high professional practice, just under award by 1 point, so well done. Photographer, can we please have our next print? Oh, hang on, before we do, can we swap Dean out for Simon, who's standing here, or was standing there? Not even got his seat warm.
Careful, don't weigh yourself out.
Next print, please. print scores are 78. Can I please ask Simone to make a comment on how this photographer might improve?
Yeah, the expressions are fantastic on the babies, and it's exactly what you want from a print in the family category. But the skin colour difference between the babies and the parents was too distracting, and I'd really like to see the parents' skin colour lifted to be closer to the babies.
Thank you, Simone. Next print, please. Righto, so we have a average of 79. Is everybody happy with that?
I'd like to challenge this.
A challenge by Simon we will accept.
Okay, I think this image has attempted and succeeded in creating a otherworldly feel to it. It's almost like the two little girls are fairies, and the mother's a fairy, and the dad's there too. And to me, it feels like the type of photo that you could get completely wrong and it just wouldn't quite sit right. But I think the tones that they've used, the interaction between the family is very nice and feels very natural. And the way that it's all been put together is, in my opinion, a silver with distinction. At the silver at the least. But I would implore you to come up to silver D.
Right, I think we should next hear from Simone.
Yeah, I can appreciate this kind of portrait in that it's been created in a fantasy kind of style, which the family are obviously hoping for. But I'm not sure that this one was executed to a silver level. I think there's a few little things posing-wise with a family to watch, and one of them is the mother's face being too obscured. Her expression would have lifted the whole thing completely to match the rest of them with that sort of feel of wonder. But because we've lost her and we just see the top of her head, it's really not working as a family photograph independent of everything that's going on around it. The other thing that's a big issue for me is the reflection. We've lost her completely, and her hand is the dominant part, and it looks wonky or, in a strange position. So those elements for me, no matter what the background and the surroundings are, have to be there for me to make it a silver, so that family is the feature.
Would anyone else like to comment before I hand back to someone? David?
Yes, I think it's a good professional practice portrait, and I love the whole feel of it. What pulled me down from putting it up into the awards is when juxtaposing all of the leaves and everything around the sides and the front, they're all very sharp, and yet the reflection, which should be the same focal point, basically is soft, obviously, because it's closer towards us. Need to blend all of that foreground around the front to be more believable, and then you're focusing more on the fairies in the middle.
Cool. Simon, your right of reply.
Yeah, some good points, obviously well made there. Having said that, I think the overall impact of the image and the feeling that it creates within the viewer, I think make it award level, and I implore you to come up to a silver.
Thank you. Can we rescore and just leave Simon on his score? Well, we're close. We got an average of 80, but a majority of 79, so just sitting under that silver. Sorry to hear. Now, before we go to the next print, can we please put Dean back in and take Kate out? Thank you, Dean. And we have a next print, please. Okay, so this print averaged 79, but the majority score pushed it to 80, so congratulations, we have a silver. Interesting seeing the majority work one way rather than the other, one print after each other. That's cool. Does anyone want to make a comment? Simone?
I think the family group is lovely. The composition that, you know, the legs of the baby that comes at that apex is that little gorgeous wriggly naked baby. If you were to take it to APA, I would crop the sun out. Keep it just that beautiful tonal range behind the family, and I don't think the sun keeps taking you away from that great grouping.
Thank you, Simone. Can we have our next print, please? Oh, we have a silver on 82. David, you're on the money. Can you make a comment for the photographer?
I love being on the money. Yes, I love the gentleness of the tones. In some ways, though, we're losing a little bit of information just in the pants area and those of the kids. If there can be a little bit more detail brought out, it just in the centre, it might just lift them just that little bit more. But it's a beautiful shot and deserved of a silver.
Well, congratulations to the photographer on a silver. Thank you, David. Next print, please. Yeah, sure. Paul, would you please step in for summer bills? That's position 4, Paul. Yeah, assume the position 4. We have a silver on 81. Congratulations. I'd like to hear from George. A comment for the author.
Congratulations, beautiful shot. Love the positioning, the posing, the shapes, the triangle of the three. For me, it felt a little bit awkward, and that awkwardness sort of prevented me from scoring higher. So, yeah.
Thank you, George. Next print, please. Yes, please, if you can, Paul. Thank you. We have a silver on 80. Paul, how about you talk for this print, please?
The print handling is beautiful. The tonality is handled really well. There's a gorgeous delicacy to it. I felt a little bit confused by the addition of maybe that second frame in there. It sort of jumbles things through. I felt there was a simplicity in 3, 2, 1 in terms of a narrative rolling down into one. And I enjoyed the element of the smaller child just being less and less frustrated and more in its space by the time it was on his own at the bottom. It was like, well, I'm okay now. I don't have these Muppets crawling all over me, disturbing me. I'm just in my space. So it has an interesting narrative there, but I thought it was a little bit maybe overly complex, including the extra frame in, personally.
Thank you, George.
I would actually look at flipping it so the baby started first and you're adding one brother and then the three. Taking them away, I was a bit confused with that narrative, but that's the only advice that I would give.
Cool. Thank you. Next print, please. Yeah, Dean. Luke, can I ask you to step in, please? Keep it nice and fast up by the print there, please, judges. Wicca. Except for Luke, he can take his time because he was brought in the last minute, so, you know, it's a bit rough on him. Use the force, Luke. The print scores an 80 and it's a silver. Before we pop out of this, Dean, do you want to pop back on? Sure. Luke, sorry about that, mate. It's all right. Can we get a comment, please, from George? What do we need to do to improve this?
Possibly adding another member of a family, or if it's a single person. I'm not sure. It just doesn't... adding a story to it. I think it needs a story. It looks great, beautiful, but at APPers to get a high score needs that element of narrative.
Thanks, George. Great comment. Alrighty, next print, please. Print scores 78. Can I please ask Dean? I'd love to hear from you. He whispered at us, and it's on.
I
baby.
did. I really wanted to love it, and as soon as it came round, I'm like, look, the curve and the shape and the roundness that's all cool. It's a bit of a tight crop. Look, there's great control in the lighting, I reckon. But as soon as I saw it, I thought the baby will be in focus, or the dog will be in focus, but it won't be both. And that was proven to be correct, which was a bit of a bummer. I think there are ways, whether it's using things like composites and things like that, to move your focus point and do a composite image, which is completely within the realms of this category. Yes, that's correct. Phew. So I think if you could revisit with that sort of technical thing in mind, that would be really cool, because a lot's been done really well. So for me, totally professional practice, but just that next level of perfection, I suppose, we're looking for awards.
Excellent. Thank you. Next print, please. Just to clarify the comments about the judge not being sure about the rules for the category, that's cool, because the judges aren't deciding on the rules. The rules are being decided by validators who look at the work before it gets judged to make sure it's not breaking all those rules. So the judges have to look at the things as they're presented, assuming everything's tickety-boo for the category. And this print averages 77 with 4 judges right on the 77. So very consistent judging, everybody. I think it'd be great to hear from David Hattie. What can we do about this for the author?
I think this might be one of those cases where we've got a triptych we don't really need, maybe. They're beautiful little images of the family. I like the middle one the best, and the one on the right is lovely from a sense of knowing the story, but it doesn't necessarily add something. I think it's the middle one that's the key one. And if you're going to do this sort of thing, we just need to see them a little bit closer and a little bit more life in there. But that middle one tells the story, and the others may be more incidental to what we need.
Thank you. That's high professional practice, so it's still a good score. Next print, please. We have an average of 78 with this print, high professional practice. I'd like to ask George to give this a very quick comment, please.
Beautiful handling of printing, great execution, beautiful lighting. The light, would have liked the light to match on the baby as well. So I was drawn to the 2 siblings, and maybe interacting rather than looking at the camera. So creating a scene and capturing that scene rather than just looking towards the camera may have helped this image.
Thank you, George. Can I have a quick judge swap again, please? Can we put Dean out and Luke in? Off the Instagram feed there, Mr. Simon. We have our next print, please. Oh, I love it. That is so cool. Faraday cage for a hat. How about it? We have a silver on 81. Congratulations. I'd like to hear from Simone because she's asking nicely.
This is such a lovely little concept, and it was a great little moment. And I think if the author wants to take it to APA, I would take out the third image. I think it's superfluous to the story, and see how that looks and feels.
Thank you. Next print, please. The print average is 79, so we're just the top of professional practice. Paul, can you suggest something for the photographer? Luke, would you like to say something?
Just losing the forehead into the background a little bit on the little bubsies. Very cute. And I'd love to see those heads level with each other, really. There's just a bit more space on the bottom of the left one than the right, so maybe just addressing those things a little bit, but beautiful.
Thank you, Luke. Next print, please. Just want to thank Graphic Arts Supplies for their sponsorship of the family category. And we're judging the 2018 AIPP South Australian, Northern Territory and Tasmania Professional Photography Awards. And Epson are the overall sponsors, and Graphic Arts Supplies are our category sponsors. But we also have the Centre for Creative Photography looking after the emerging photographer category, and Kodak looking after the student category, and you could be looking at student work. So they could be the student category winner sitting right before us. Wow, we've got a silver here. Congratulations. That's an 83. I think it'd be worth hearing from George. Do you have a suggestion, George, for the photographer to perhaps lift it to silver distinction? Or
Yeah, possibly looking at the texture on her left leg, whether that needs to be there or not, and also on the other leg. It takes you away from the moment that's happening between the mother and child. But beautiful, beautiful shot.
Thank you, George. Next print, please. They'll hunt you down. So the print scores a 79 on average. Are we all happy with that? clearly someone's not. Simone, you have a challenge on 86. You're 7 points up. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I put it in the silver distinction range, and really I'm asking people to come up to silver at least. I think this is one of those examples of the simplest portrait done super beautifully. It's all the texture around that little girl and the lighting in her hair and the colour palette, and how innocent and simple the whole image is, should be rewarded. I think it's really important that we still reward classic, beautiful, well done portraiture. And I'm loving her expression, and I think I'm struggling to fault it. So I'm willing to hear what other people would like to say, but that's my opinion.
David, I'd like to hear you as the foil to this, please.
As the foil?
Well,
Okay.
for this particular comment.
All right.
On guard.
The silver foil. I at first, from sitting a couple of metres away, I absolutely loved it. And as I came closer, unfortunately, there just seems to be some vignetting that's hitting the little girl's right hand to our left, and just making it muddy. And then it's sort of a little bit too soft just in front of her. There's something going on in the print on the left-hand side and the bottom, which was just... I'd love to see that a little bit cleaner, because I love the middle section, I love her expression, and I agree with Simone with all of the details of just showing a little person and that side of things, but it's the technical side of that printing that I think if that can be addressed, you could do a lot more with this.
Good I think with the split, it's probably worth asking another judge would they like to speak to it, Paul or Luke or George?
Go. I saw the same thing as David on that what is her right hand, but I think that's actually lavender that's kind of in the foreground across her fingers. So initially I did think it was a vignette. I put it in high professional practice. I didn't probably go quite as high as Simone, because I did find it kind of almost like a dark vignette from the left there the whole way across. But I'm certainly listening to Simone, and I agree. It's a beautiful print. It's really well handled, and it is gorgeous.
Cool. Let's hear from Simone as a right of reply.
Yeah, I think what David and Luke at least have seen is that it's a very, very shallow depth of field. So that means that anything in the foreground can just look like it's an amorphous mass, which is unfortunate. And I think if the author was taking it to AIPP, they could lift that and bring it right up. But I don't think it's enough to take it out of the merit range. I still think it's an extraordinary print and should at least be silver.
Excellent. So we're going to rescore now. Can I ask, Simone, you're holding your score on 86?
What was the
Sorry?
What was it?
79, so it's 1 point off of a silver. Congratulations, we have an 82. That's what challenges are all about. Can we just please do a judge change? Simone, can I ask you to swap out for Dean? And let's bring the next print in. Print scores 79. Is everybody happy with that? Dean's not happy with it. We're going to take a challenge from Tasmania.
Came back at the right time, I think. Guys, these are three of the hardest subjects in one picture. And it's nailed, like far out. The quality of the print's beautiful. The technical aspects in terms of sharpness is spot on. The control of the light, we've got detail everywhere we need to have detail, it's spot on. The composition is good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And back to degree of difficulty, you've got a newborn baby, a dog, and a 2.5-year-old kid that doesn't want to be there, or maybe younger probably, maybe just 2. So in order to get this sort of combination of people to get subjects, family members, together in such a beautifully crafted sort of way, it's so hard. So I want to reward it for that. I really strongly believe we can push it up into the silver range.
Okay, George, what are you thinking?
Beautiful shot. I hear you. I do love the sharpness, even the polka dots that the child's wearing. Would be very difficult shot. It's a gorgeous high professional standard family photo. Whether it has that X factor to bring it up to an award standard, I was unsure, and that's why I scored it just below, but definitely willing to listen.
So, Paul, you indicated you had a comment.
I agree with. It's a really superb print. The lighting's exquisite. The print handling is really about at the top of the game, really. But for me, I was just struggling to get that level of emotional engagement with the subject matter, and particularly with the girl. She's sort of halfway between emotions as she kind of... where is she in this? And there's a lovely placement there, but I'm struggling to get engaged and to have something communicated to me that goes beyond a very well-crafted professional practice print.
Thank you. Dean, your right of reply.
Thanks for that, guys. That reason, Paul, in particular, was what kept me out of distinction range, because there is that lack of emotional content coming from the older child there. So it kept me out of distinction. It's still definitely, in my mind, someone who shoots this stuff every day, really well worth the silver reward. You know, it's pushed beyond just standard professional practice. This is a sort of thing that... in my studio anyway, I don't promise I can get this shot. I say if we get it, we'll try, but I don't promise it. But to be able to deliver the perfect picture of the 3 babies in this family all together is exceptional. The emotional content and the way that the dog's interacting in there is what really grabbed me when I got up close to this print. So for that alone, it's a silver in my mind. I'd love you to rethink your scores, guys.
All right, hold your score on 84 and go for it, the rest of you. Well done, 82 silver. Alrighty, next print, please. Okay, print average is 77. Let's grab a comment from Luke Simon.
Super saleable image. This family be stoked with it. Maybe just addressing the angle that this is shot from, as well as just to try to remove some of those highlights that are popping through from the background, just to really bring the focus on those kids. It'd be awesome.
Thanks, Luke. Next print, please. We'll give you one awesome. Wow, how's that? Majority 85. Congratulations. Interesting when people are sitting around looking very carefully at something, trying to work it out. It's a good sign that we've got an 85 silver distinction. Yes. Pick up the mic and go for it.
Just one comment, that the couple facing away from each other, that was the one that killed it for me. The rest are gorgeous. I think switching it or removing that top one, but yeah.
For me, I think that part of the story is that's before they knew each other. They were two separate people who didn't know each other, and then they met, and they were friends, and then they fell in love, and then they had a baby. Oh, I don't know why the birds are in the maternity picture. Oh, I reckon there's a really awesome reason, but I don't know what it is. Oh, he's five-fallen. Yeah, so awesome.
Good comment. Next print, please. Congratulations to that photographer. Celebratory whistling in the background. Bingo, another silver, 83. George, you want to make a comment? You're at the silver range, but you're at the bottom of it?
Yeah, it looks like a pendant with a picture within that, and just the darkness of the skin, if it was a pendant. I'm guessing it is, but I think that was a bit confusing for me, so that's why I scored it 80, but definitely deserving of a silver.
Yep. Excellent, well done. Next print, please. Alrighty, we have a majority 79 after an average of 80. That's because 3 of the judges were in the 70s range. That's why it puts it in the 79, which is this rule working the other way. Congratulations for high professional practice and almost a silver. Well done. Can we have a comment from one of the judges?
I'll go. You've done a really good job with a really hard subject in terms of the technical nature of balancing a dark background and the skin tones and the hair and stuff like that. But just, I don't think we've nailed the focus on the baby. I think it's a little bit out of focus, or it's been enlarged to a certain point or something. So I think that's a bit of a shame. Babies are allowed to be soft and squishy, and it's a beautiful moment. The engagement, the interaction, all of that's there. And we've got some, perhaps a bit more detail could have been brought back in some of the real dark areas. But really good, well-deserving of professional practice.
Thank you. Alrighty, before we go to the next print, David, could I ask you to take a break and we'll pop Robin in David's spot? And the next print, please. We have an 81 silver. Can I just ask is that Luke, do you want to make a comment? Cheers.
Just a couple of little things. I'd love to see that post behind the little girl's head just brought back a little bit so it's a bit darker, just so it doesn't kind of intervene with her head so much. But lovely, awesome stuff. Great.
Thank you, Luke. Next print, please. Print scores 79. Robin, would you like to make a comment on that one?
Yeah, there's some beautiful little portraits going on within the centre of the image, but unfortunately I find because of they are so small within the context of the overall image that they almost get lost. I'd love to see them significantly bigger so that we could get the value out of them, because I think they're actually really lovely pictures.
Thanks, Robin. Next print, please. Okay, so the print scores an 80 and is a silver. I'd like to ask Paul, do you have a comment on this one?
Yeah, I put it squarely in which range. I felt there's a lovely authenticity and easy engagement with the subject, both through the beautiful catchlights in the eye, the context. I can easily believe that's his stomping ground in the background. There's a little bit of mud around his face and on his knees that has a sense of interactivity. There's a balance and an interactivity with this beautiful creature, which is a sense of relationship that it speaks about and gives that narrative. Quirky little boots. There's a lot going on in this, and it's placed really beautifully. The lighting's gorgeous. It's a well-handled image.
But
well done.
before you just tell how great it is, can you say something about what you think may be to improve it?
I might ask someone else to do that.
Okay. Anyone got a comment they'd like to add? Yeah, Robin.
Yeah, I'm struggling a bit with the brightness in the background. A crop off the top I think would make a significant difference, and just darken down a little bit more to bring your focus back into the eyes.
Thanks, Robin. Excellent. And can we have our next print, please? Righto, we've got an average of 84. Are we happy? No, we're not. Robin's got a challenge on 89. We'll accept it.
Yeah, there's an incredible vulnerability here. When you have a baby that's born with a cleft palate, it's often for the parents, it's a lot to take in. So the fact that they've gone and taken this beautiful photograph of this child and then they've come back 12 months later to see this amazingly gorgeous little baby. There's a real sort of rawness to it, but at the same time, they've managed to turn something that would have been quite a challenging and negative situation into what is actually a beautiful piece of art that, in my opinion, would actually open up the conversation of cleft palate and what can be done now and the differences and the changes that can be made. Second to that, the posture on the little girl is just adorable. It's almost as if she's reaching out to her past life. This is how it was before. This is how I am now. I think the photographer has done such a great job documenting this in a beautiful, tasteful way, and that's why I'm in the distinction range. It's more than just, you know, outstanding. You know, it's that next level of craftsmanship.
Thank you, Robin. I think we should hear from Dean on this one. Come on, Dean.
I-
Don't wince.
I'm only wincing because it's beautiful. I was at the lower end, and that's why I was wincing.
That's why I asked you, mate.
I know. I hear what you're saying. I suppose, I don't know, there's something almost manufactured about the look of it that is unsettling for me. I obviously get the story. I think it's a great story, and it's one that definitely deserves to be told, and it's presented to us in a lovely way. But there's just some sort of disconnect between the subject on the right, the baby there, and their environment that she's in. I don't know, maybe there's something a bit too perfect or something like that. Maybe that's unsettling for me. So I'm definitely listening. I'm open to hear a little bit more about that and why. But yeah, that's something that was holding me back from going deeper into the silver range.
All right, George, let's go with you next, please.
Yeah, I love this shot. Love the story. I scored an 82, solid silver. What stopped me going higher was the skin of the baby was almost too perfect. It was over softening. I would have loved a authenticity of the skin to match the one in the frame, to create that real authentic feeling.
Thank you, Paul. I'd like to hear from you because you're closest to Robin.
Yeah, I'm very squarely in the silver distinction, and I'm considering going higher. I feel like, Dean, in reflection to your comment, there's a tension and a complexity and almost potentially a sophistication in terms of that almost too perfect girlish pose to the presentation of something that can potentially quite a challenging issue, and the journey that we can, you can assume it's her, you can't be sure, but it's really communicating quite a complex, subtle, but overt level at the same time. So it's a bit unsettling, but it's really speaking to us, and there's a lot you can read into it. So I settle with that.
Excellent. Dean, back to you, my friend. Oh, sorry. I got my challenges around the wrong way. Robin.
Yeah, there's this real surreal feel to the baby's skin, and I actually perceive that as this is the princess. So they've gone to that extra level of retouching to give her that princess feel. The little hair ornament, it's just nothing that tips it over the edge. This is now our princess. Look how beautiful she is. It's almost as if they've gone to that extra extent to make her look a little bit plastic, a little bit doll-like, because she is this beautiful princess with the connection of where she has come from. But there's still that sense of pride. Silver distinction all the way. Please join me.
Excellent. Let's rescore. Robin, leave yours on 89. She's asking for silver distinction. You clever rabbits, 87. Well done. Next print, please. Actually, before we do that, Dean, out. Simone, in. Pretty please. Sorry about that. We can get on with the judging. We have a majority 84. This is a solid silver. Well done. Congratulations. I think we should get a comment from George about this image, please.
Congratulations, beautiful shot. Love the story, love the image, and I'm not sure that the background added anything to the family portrait. So, yeah, that maybe looking at that.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you. Can I please swap Luke out for Kate? You okay with that, Kate? Yes. Good. Next print, please. Ripper Reader, we got an 80 by majority. Congratulations. Can I ask Paul to make a quick comment on that, Paul?
Yeah, I was just over the line. Part of me didn't want the title on the book. I wanted to have to work a little bit harder to find the story, but it's still delicately enough that if you weren't looking hard enough, you'd find it soon. Delicate colour palette, nice bit of breathing room around for you to explore around the story and sit with it a little bit. Curious kind of off-center expression with the eyes, which kind of reads into the narrative of not being that comfortable with the reading process or quite half engaged with it, which successfully supports the narrative. Silver award.
All right, next print, please. Okay, we have a average of 77 with this image. This is high professional practice. Kate Ellis, can you make a comment, please? Oh, sorry, Paul.
I really love the idea behind this walking off into the sunset. Unfortunately for me, the difference between the warmth of the background and the coolness of the foreground just lets it down a little bit. But yeah, it's a really beautiful concept.
Thanks, Kate. Can we have a next print, please? At least. Comb your hair. Clean undies. We have an average of 78. Congratulations. That's high professional practice. Can I please ask George to make a comment who's just under that?
Nice shot. I love the colours, the sunset, time of the day it was shot. Possibly look at your camera angle, maybe coming further below, and the foreground not as much, and basically cropping, bringing up that so you've got more focus on the subjects.
Thank you, George. Next print, please. And if you're at home or even if you're here and you don't realise you're judging the family category at the SA, Northern Territory and Tasmanian AIPP Professional Photography Awards, proudly sponsored by Epson. And this category, the family category, is sponsored by Graphic Art Supplies here in Rundle Street, Kent Town, for your printing, paper. I think they do like all sorts of printers, don't they? They do. Vinyl cutters. They've got the new Epson. They have the new Epson super wonderful, terrific printer. Dye sublimation? The one that does on T-shirts and stuff. Wallpaper. Yes, so thank you so much, Graphic Art Supplies. Thanks to Marden for this fantastic venue. Yay, Marden. Graham? Wow, we've got another silver. Congratulations on 80. I'll ask Simone to make a comment for the photographer.
Yeah, I was just a bit under. I really wanted to put this in the merit range, but it was the top image that took it down for me, because I feel like it's superfluous. I think that the middle one and the bottom one are the story of that, the relationship between the girl and the horse.
Lovely, well said. Next print, please. Hey, an 83, a silver. Okay, for that charming photograph, can I ask George to make a comment?
Gorgeous, love this shot. I gave it an 80 silver. What prevented me from giving it higher was that second image. I thought that was superfluous. Is that a word?
Superfluous, I think we say here in South
I just
Australia.
wanted to use that word. I think we don't need that second image. The rest is amazing. That last image is a cracker. Love it.
Ripper. Okay, that is the last print in the family category. So thank you so much, everybody, for sitting around and enjoying this. Thank you for the judges of putting all their hard brain power onto it. The back room, Wundle people, fantastic people back there. Beck and Jared all the way to the end. Bruce for his help. Oh yeah, Bruce. Is it off? The live stream's not off. They're about to cut me off. Bruce, thank you. Thanks everybody. Thanks Epson. Thanks Graphic Art Supplies. Hopefully I won't swear. Hearing on, Simone's about to say something. Dinner ticket.